dinner at Nobu. I've never been to Nobu, but it's kind of always been on my list of places to try, and we are having a completely different dining experience than I've ever had. So it is a set menu. I do not get to pick what we're having for dinner tonight. They are just going to bring me what is on their preset menu, and we're gonna go with it. Tonight's video is going to be a little different than the normal style of video I do. So I'm recording this after dinner. Basically, I didn't think it was appropriate to vlog at the table. So it's a nice restaurant, but you're not at a table alone. You're with a whole group of people because we're at a teppanyaki table. So basically, I'm going to tell you all about dinner and then insert the clips. So it's kind of opposite of what we usually do. Dinner tonight was completely different than any dinner I've ever recorded for my channel. There were like 9 courses and it's $250 a person. You have no say in what you eat. They say this is the menu, this is what we're serving, and then that's what you go with. We started off with sushi, and I do not typically eat raw sushi. So I have to admit, I only tried the piece that was on the spoon. It had caviar on top and then gold. It's probably the gold. That's what made me try it. It's not something I would order, but I got it down, so it wasn't as bad as I expected. But the other 3 kinds of sushi, I couldn't. I knew it wasn't gonna go well. They brought us a salad, and then the chef came out and he started cooking. I had a scallop, which I normally don't eat, and it wasn't bad. I just feel like scallops don't have a lot of flavor. They're like jiggly, kind of weird. But I mean, it was fine. It's just not like my go-to thing that I would order. Thank you. And I tried sea bass for the very first time. I actually don't eat fish, and so I was like, okay, let's try this, let's see how it goes. But surprisingly, it was not bad. So it was kind of crispy on the outside, and then the sauce was kind of like a sweet and sour type sauce, and I thought it was like good. Like for fish, it was not bad at all. So I was surprised by that. The steak was A5 Wagyu steak, which I mean, like, I don't even need to say anything. Obviously, that's delicious. They put wasabi and salt on the plate, and I thought that was cool. And one thing just in general about the chef, I thought it was cool because, okay, so usually at a teppanyaki restaurant, they're obviously cooking in front of you, and then they just put the food on the plate as they finish it. Like, your plate's in front of you, and then they just add more and more food as they finish it, which honestly, with teppanyaki, I like to wait till everything's finished and then I eat it because I just like to eat all the food together. But this is completely different. They bring you a course, you eat it, you finish it right there, and then they give you the next one. Between one of them, okay, so you have to think, I'm sitting there and I'm taking pictures and recording everything, and I'm a slow eater on top of that, so I was like the last one. So there was one time that he was like, oh, the sea bass. He said, oh, you're still working on the sea bass. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I looked, I was the last one, so I'm like, pick up the speed, Michelle. So that was different. The rice was at the end, which they like brought out the steak, and then I'm thinking like, crap, I thought we got rice. Yes, and once everyone was finished, not me, but once everyone else was finished with the steak, then they gave us rice. It's a money sign, he said. It's a very expensive dinner. So the rice had all the meat that we had in the rice. So you had scallops, lobster, sea bass, and steak in fried rice. So that was definitely different. This was my second time having like fine dining teppanyaki. I went to Mizumi at the Wynn before. I will link that video above. And I noticed a big difference between that and I would say like your traditional, yeah, I would say traditional. I don't want to say cheap because it's not cheap, but like it's not fine dining. Like just like regular teppanyaki places. One thing I noticed is I feel like the fine dining restaurants almost seem healthier, like it seems lighter, and as a result I feel like the traditional places have more flavor. So like the rice I felt like didn't have as much flavor as fried rice usually does, but I mean it makes sense. They're not putting like all this butter and all this like stuff that's like not great in it, so I mean it makes sense. So I almost feel like if you want like a healthy teppanyaki option, fine dining's the way to go, because I have noticed it's different, it's just a lot lighter. One thing I should mention, when you make a reservation, you can't specify if you want a teppanyaki table or just the regular dining room. So they said that you cannot request the special like hibachi style table. and they said if you get an early reservation, you have a better chance. So the reservation was at 5 o'clock. We got the table. If I ever went back to Nobu in the future, I wouldn't do the teppanyaki side because I've experienced that now, but I would be curious about the regular menu. You know, like try like a sushi roll, something I normally would order, and see like how delicious that is. See if maybe they have like chicken or something else, you know, and definitely like check out their full dessert menu. I would say if you want to try this kind of experience and just, you know, try a little bit of everything, take the whole like thought process out of it and just go with the set menu, that's definitely an experience, especially if you're having like a fancy night out and you want to try something different. But if you're picky, I think it would be better for you to do the regular dining and order off the menu. I hope you guys had fun checking out a new restaurant with me, and now you have another dining option at Caesar's Palace. Before you go, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Send the video to all your friends, and then they can subscribe too. Bye guys.